Still loading. Hi guys! Hi T.S.O family! Welcome to the T.S.O Live Talk Show brought to you by The Teen Speaks Out, based out of Abilene, Texas. We were created to give the teens, pause. Before I jump into that, hi y'all, we missed y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching us and supporting us. Don't forget to like, share, and comment because if you don't, I will. And sharing is caring. Before we get started with today, I just want to let everybody know what TSO is. TSO is a youth organization based out of Abilene, Texas. We were created to give the teens a forum to speak their views and share their ideas globally and within their community. Also to help forth bring future teachers, leaders, judges, and ambassadors, and also to bring back the remembrance of upholding the Ten Commandments. So like I say every single Monday, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Give us a lot of hearts. Let us know where you're watching from. If you would like to be a part of our show, all you have to do is send us an email at tsalivetalkshow@gmail.com, or you can message Aria, Justin, Hygeria, Azalea, or myself, and we would love to have you on. If you have music that you would like to be featured on the TSO Live Talk Show, please send us an email. Make sure it's clean. tsalivetalkshow@gmail.com. So I'm here with half of the crew. We are missing Hygeria and Azalea, but I have Justin and Aria. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty great. How are you guys doing?
I'm
I'm
doing
doing well.
okay. It's
Doing
really
well.
cold in
Yeah.
Justin and I's neck of the woods. Um, Wait, it's cold where you're at too, Aria?
It sure is down in Chicago.
Oh yeah, you're a lot colder than us.
Yeah,
hmm
with the
A snowstorm coming tonight as well.
I was
So
gonna say, y'all get blizzards, right? We got some snow coming, but
Oh,
probably
we
nothing
don't.
like that.
We
mm
got some snow coming. It's supposed to be coming. How are you, Justin? What's going on in your life?
Oh, what's going on in my life? Um, oh man. A few people I know have COVID, so that's cool. So it really kind of hits close to home now. Um, it's unfortunate, but they're all doing fine. But it seems like it's everywhere now, and kind of hard
Yeah.
to avoid. I got my first test today. That was not as bad as everyone said. Apparently, people say, oh, it kills you. You have to stick the swab up near your brainstem, but that's not the case. You just gotta,
Oh, it's not that bad.
yeah, I don't think it was.
Okay. Yeah, I have thank the Father I haven't had to have a COVID test. But I have heard that it's really really tough.
Mhm. Neither have I, and I agree, Justin. I do have a few people in my life personally affected by COVID right now, but right now, like you said, everything's going well, and we're just hoping for the best.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
there's a. I'm sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
Oh no. I realized you were stopping after I said yeah with a little bit more emphasis than I had intended. And I didn't have anything after that. I was just saying yeah with emphasis. But no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had a lot of things happen since the last time that we were on the show. We're sorry about last weekend. Not last weekend, last Monday. So I mean, we have a new president. We're gonna go ahead and jump into our breaking news. We have new leadership in our presidency right now. 2021 is off to a start. The last time we were on here, we talked about what happened on January the 6th with the rioting at the Capitol. And here we are, day 25. Yes, day 25. Or is it today's 26th? No, day 25 of 2021. So, Justin, you're the brains. I'll let you lead the way with our breaking news.
Don't, 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 don't.
Justin,
We
I miss you
really got to
so
get the
much in
sound effects
person.
going back.
I hope you know
But
that.
no, so we got a new president, and it's Joe Biden, and a lot of people are somewhat excited about that, and I'm also somewhat excited about that. Some people are very excited about that. I'm personally somewhat excited, but it's okay because you the change that's needed is vast. It's not one person, it's not two people, it's thousands of people over many years. But the sheer absence of Trump, I think, is a benefit and a bonus and a pleasant thing, at least in my opinion. Of course, not reflecting that of TSO Live, but I don't know. It was a pretty tenuous week. I know at the many capitals they were prepared for mass demonstrations and potential violence, although we really didn't see almost any. So
Right.
I guess that's a good thing after January 6th, where I think at this point 4 people died.
Correct.
So I suppose that's a good thing. I know people are still beating the drums about impeaching Trump even after he's out of office, so that he can't run for office again.
Sure.
Uh,
I
don't.
really don't think that he would try to be honest.
But apparently he's trying to start his own party now called the Patriot Party.
This dude.
No, no, for real, for real. Are you gonna join? Maya?
No.
Okay,
Really,
well,
Joseph?
it looks like you might. I don't know. I think you
Why
might.
does it look? Because of the hat?
You're not. No, you're nodding. You're like, all right, yeah, that sounds good.
No, I'm moving just because I always talk with my hands and I was going to say something, but my hands are down here so you can't really see. But no, yeah, I'm not joining. I mean, I thought back to inauguration day. I really thought that it was gonna pop off, to be honest. But it was like eerie quiet, especially here in Pennsylvania. Like, it was just complete silence everywhere. Like going outside, it just felt very eerie, just very quiet. And I was really surprised because I really thought that, you know, all the family was going to be out, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that it didn't turn out to be this, chaotic day for America.
I agree as well. And I think it's really interesting that we decided to start off the talk show talking about the Biden presidency because our recent Fembolden episode, actually, that aired this morning at 12 a.m., is about just what we expect to see about the Biden presidency. And it's just Caitlin and I just having a nice little discussion about our hopes, people's apprehension, and just why some people are not very excited, as Justin said, or why some people are really excited about Biden being president. And yeah, if you want to check that out, it's titled "We Did It, Joe," and I think it's a really, really cool conversational episode.
Yeah. That's actually a good question to ask yourself for all of our listeners and our watchers right now. What do you expect to happen? What are some of your dreams and goals that you have for our new presidency? And a lot of people are weary right now, so a lot of people don't really know what they want. I'm just hoping that we can get on the path of peace because we haven't seen peace ever. There's never been peace, literally. So I'm hoping that we can get on that path and we can kind of let go of that anger and hatred of what we've experienced with our past president. And I'm just hoping that we can look past that and start growing with one another. And I know it's hard, y'all. I know it's difficult, especially with COVID. Everybody is sad. Morale is not at a high right now, but we really have to pull together and make it work. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I said I know what I'm saying. Like I'm talking to the kids right now. Y'all
Yeah,
see?
know what I'm saying. But no, it turned out that Trump was really one of the less, at least outwardly, militarily aggressive presidents towards other nations. He wasn't super into imperialism and foreign wars.
Right.
And at times he tried to bring troops back and faced a decent bit of opposition. And I'll be interested to see how that changes under Biden because a lot of the people he's appointing to cabinet positions, they are of that mindset where they're interested in, or they're maybe not into, they're open to war with Iran and Russia and perhaps China,
Yeah.
I think. None of these are good ideas, in my
Right.
opinion, but we'll see. You got to give someone a chance, right? And some of his first day executive orders were pretty positive, like rejoining the Paris Climate Accords, although my opinion they're pretty weak to begin with, but at least we're not we're not out of the weak accords anymore. We're at least in them.
Right.
So that's cool. And the lift on the transgender military ban, which was just spiteful by Trump, I thought it seemed kind of like I don't like you, so I'm gonna do this just to hurt you. That's what it seemed like to me.
Mhm, I agree.
Right. So I mean, we have a lot of things to look forward to, though. Hopefully, hopefully we don't end up in a mass war. You know, I'm praying, especially for our younger generation. I'm hoping for something better. But some some good news. I mean, I'm telling you, us women out here, we out here really setting the bar up high. You know, Kamala Harris is our first woman vice president, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling quite great. I mean, I'm really excited, and I see like all. I have a lot of friends on Facebook, so I see a lot of my young entrepreneurs out here with their businesses and their podcasts, and you know this. We didn't need. Okay, how do I say this in a nice way? I'm gonna just say my personal stuff. All my dad always told me, like, know who you are. You can do anything, but to have Kamala Harris as our vice president, it sets a whole nother bar for us. So that in itself is a whole positive bubble that I'm glad that we all get to share as women, and even you, Justin.
And something that I've heard both of you say many times, representation matters.
It
Yeah.
does.
Sure, her politics may not be perfect or exactly to
Yes.
anyone's what theirs might be, but representation does matter, and it matters to people in this generation and the next generation coming, seeing like, wow, I can do it too. And you could, of course, you could always do it, but you just see so many examples, and it's always wild to me because, and it's not bragging because I hate that it's true, but I see so many examples of, someone who looks like me. And
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, of course I can do that, but unconsciously, I've already compiled all those examples into my perspective. And of course I can. Lots of people resembling me with my similar background who've done it.
Right.
And if that's your background, if you're watching, I would always recommend just considering that that's not always the case. And I hope she does a good job. I truly do.
I
Um,
do too.
some of her some of her positions on crime and incarceration, I don't love those personally, but
Right. I agree with you 100%. And even before, I remember when Biden first announced her as his running mate, that was the first thing I thought about. Was like, man, some of her politics are just like, I'm not 100% on board with. But it is good to see that we can accomplish anything as far as the White House, and for, little African American girls who are watching that, like that's a big achievement for us. We needed to see that. That is that part of that change that we needed to happen.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And, I spoke about this in the episode as well about how violently negligent it is to say that her being the first vice president or first woman vice president just doesn't matter because of her politics. And I'm not saying in any way that I agree with everything that Kamala Harris has done in her past, and nor am I negating what she's done and trying to downplay it. But also, it's just completely wrong to say that it does nothing and it's not something celebratory, because it is for
Right.
Black girls, for Asian girls, for every person that looks at that TV can say, like, wow, not only can I do it,
yeah,
but they can do it, right? Like little, white boys can look at the TV and now they know, like, okay, this isn't just a space for me. This is a space for all people. And that's
Right.
really what we are trying to accomplish. So like you said, it's such a beautiful thing, and I'm so glad to be able to witness it happening.
Absolutely. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but we love us some Aria because she is just the goat. The goat.
You.
And that was so very well spoken. 100%. Drop mic. If I had a mic, I would drop it right now. But there you go. Drop mic.
Thanks for
So
that.
please go check out the episode. One more time, Aria, of the title of your show this past
Um,
Sunday.
the podcast is the Fembolden podcast. So you can look that up on all available listening platforms, as well as you can find the links to it in our website, which is right there, www.fembolden.org. And the episode title that I'm referencing in this live talk show is We Did It, Joe, and it's our most recent episode.
Awesome. So go on there and check it out. Don't forget, every Monday. Is it still 12 o'clock? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 o'clock p.m. Go on there, listen to your episode. You got all day to listen to. We got to start quizzing people on it. I'm sorry. Y'all know I talk with my hands. I'm like,
No. I guess midnight is 12 a.m.
huh?
It's 12 a.m.
Oh
12,
yeah,
12
12
a.m.
a.m. Yeah.
It's always seemed like a kind of silly distinction to me that PM is noon and AM is midnight, but it's whatever.
Go on there and listen to her show. Also, don't forget to like the Finn Bowling page on Facebook as well. We got to get those likes up as well. So, that's Justin. Did you have any more for our breaking news?
Not especially, I don't think.
Okay.
No.
Aria, did you have anything you wanted to add for the breaking
No,
news?
I'm all.
Okay, so we do have a special guest coming on our show today. I am super excited to hear all about her. I'm super excited for her to come on the T.S.O Live Talk Show and share everything that's been happening in her inner circle. This is actually Aria's guest that she brought on to the T.S.O Live Talk Show. We're getting so excited. We're expanding our horizons. This young lady is from New Jersey. So Aria, I will let you introduce her. We'll go ahead and bring her up on the screen.
Awesome. So Riya Goel, I met her just a little bit ago when she reached out to be a part of the Fembolden podcast. And from that initial meeting, I just knew I was like, this is someone that I want to be around. She's so well spoken, so kind, effervescent, just an amazing young woman, and she's doing amazing things. So I'm not going to speak too much just because, Riya, I want you to introduce yourself as formally as possible, but you won't be disappointed by her.
Thank you so much, Aria. That was a great introduction. I'm so flattered. But yeah, I really did reach out to Aria, and that's how our friendship has evolved, and it's been really great. So yeah, I guess my name is Riya Goel. I'm 16 years old from New Jersey, and I'm a senior in high school. So with all that craziness, and yeah, I'm a kind of an activist. I proclaim to be an intersectional feminist. And so what that means is that I just think everything is very interconnected and connected in some way, shape, or form. And so I guess my three main, honestly, like areas of expertise or areas of activism are the environment, racial inequality, and gender inequality, and primarily a gender inequality activist. So yeah, I think that's the short version of it all.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to jump in with my first question. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. You're 16 years old. How did you start? Where did it all begin?
I would say Google. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it started with Google searches. How do I become involved? Like, how do I make change in my community? And it sounds naive, it's talking about it now. And there's definitely more resources than when I first started out. But I think it's so important that, you also are a self advocate and, try to do your own research. Because I think finding that you can find so many unexpected things, I don't think I would have become a gender equality activist, honestly, if I didn't just Google. I feel like I might have gone into STEM advocacy or something entirely different that maybe my parents would have thought, or I kind of found my own way through my research. And I really, I guess, encourage that for anyone looking to break into activism. So yeah, I kind of did that. I looked at organizations that I thought kind of fit my values and, did things that I thought were really interesting, tried to get involved with them, and then started doing my own things. I'd say my actual original activism was very grassroots. I started a bunch of things at my high school. I started the fencing team. It's a varsity co-ed fencing team. So that was a big thing for me. And then I took it into kind of women in sports and how that's really empowering, and how you can use sports as a almost vehicle for women's empowerment. And so I did that. And then I started Meatless Mondays, a program at my high school and district actually now, to raise awareness about the environmental impacts of meat. And then I also started a women's empowerment club. It's called the GirlUp Club at my high school. And so those, couple of things, really showed me really how to navigate a system administration, talking to the right people, how to email and how to just really talk to people. It's a big skill, and sometimes people underestimate the value of those small skills, but it's really important to develop, even taking your activism further or whatever it might be. And so yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And those small victories, at school, although they're not super small, but those victories really help me kind of get empowered to, say, hey, my voice matters, and like
Right.
this is really valuable, and I think this could make a difference, if I took this to the next level. And so that's kind of what got me excited to move forward, and kind of prompt me to continue looking into different things. So yeah.
Okay, Rhea, you were saying that as you started all these programs in your school, you were learning in the process of doing it, and I'm assuming gaining confidence along the way. Or did you find that was something you had the whole time, or was that part of the process too, that as you started more and engaged in more projects and things that you were very interested in, that you gained that confidence as you went?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it came with the process. Yeah. I mean, as a freshman in high school, I was definitely not, well spoken, or really just like knew how to do anything. It definitely comes with the process. And I can't even say right now that I'm perfect. I'm still continually learning and, trying to expand my horizons and what I could do better every day. So, yeah, I think it's a, lifelong process. It's not like, at any point you can really be perfect. There's always something to work on. And it can be depressing at times, but there's always something to be better, and I take it as my motivation for the next day. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
One of the things you're absolutely right about learning those small skills.
yeah.
When TSO was first started, I was 15 years old. I was just this little girl, Abilene, Texas, in a trailer park. So I learning those small skills, and it seems small, but they're actually the biggest part of your whole, creating this identity of yourself. So that's awesome to hear that you have your hand in so many things. Um, I get super excited because, like I said, TSO started really small. It was like this little drop, this little mustard seed. And now we have, Justin Hygier and Aria. And we've come in contact with so many awesome people, and especially our youth. Like, that's like the best part, is to see young girls like Aria, yourself, Tamara, like all these girls out here doing what they do best, and showing them that, hey, you can do this. Like, and it's gonna be difficult, it's gonna be hard, you're gonna want to give up, you're gonna be like, I'm done with this, I just want to be a normal teen, and but it's exciting to hear that, and it's exciting to hear that this is what you want and is your passion. That's really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really those small steps and those small victories that kind of, pave the way to whoever. And honestly, it's a really unexpected journey. If you told me, 4 years ago, and I feel like my senior year, like being a senior in a pandemic, honestly, has given me a lot of time for reflection. But like, if you told me I'd be here 4 years ago writing a book, or, doing even just like being on the news once, or like being able to talk to some of my, role models, that's like nothing I would ever have imagined. I would have, probably thought myself, as, honestly a nerd. And, that's honestly what I would have thought would be successful. And everyone has their own definition of success, and so I love how my journey kind of evolved as I, got older, as I, started to do more things. And it really took, this like beautiful path that no one could have predicted, but it worked, in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, I'd say, just like do the work, and don't really like look for the action, but just like do it because you love it, and stuff will happen for you because it comes. Yeah.
Right.
So, not to just use my easy question. So, I heard you were writing a book from someone. It was just you. So, why don't you would you tell us about it?
Sure. Yeah. So, during quarantine, I think like everyone, I was on social media like 24/7. I mean, there was like kind of nothing else to do. And so I saw this hashtag being thrown around everywhere, hashtag Gen Z. And so Gen Z was this like word that was just like all over the place, and I had no idea what it really meant. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I think I know what Gen Z means, but like I don't at the same time. Honestly, I thought I was a millennial. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. But I'm like smack in the middle of Gen Z. And
Yes.
so I'm like, wow, like this is this whole generation like I really didn't know existed like before this pandemic, and like I'm a part of it now. And so that's kind of where I got the idea from. My book is titled The Gen Z Book, very plain and simple. And so I wrote, I started researching. I talked to over 50 people, experts in the Gen Z field, people who are, Gen Z influencers, cooks, artists, activists, everyone kind of from everywhere.
Wow.
And it's been really great. I've been able to learn so many different things, expand my perspective, like exponentially through this project. And yeah, I kind of sat down and wrote about Gen Z. So right now I have a publisher, New Degree Press. And so I submitted my first manuscript in November. And so right now I'm doing revisions and, editing and all of that beautiful stuff that no one loves doing, but, it's part of the process. So yeah, I'm doing that. And the book is set to be published in April of 2021, which is this year. And yeah, I'm actually, there's less than 36 hours of right now left in my campaign to support the pre-sale of my book to cover publishing costs, because, publishing takes money. And then, yeah, that's kind of my little journey with the book. So I will have a book before I graduate high school. There we go.
That's great. So, I mean, before the end of the show or after, we could get the address to your campaign and
Yeah.
just get on our page as well, and even during the
Absolutely.
show if possible. And I'd love you to be here sometime when Hajir is around, because she actually did write a book as well.
She
And
did.
I mean, you already did, so not that you give the advice, but hey, I mean, why not? It's always, I think, helpful to speak to someone else who's going through the process.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to read the book because I was the lucky winner of her giveaway. So I'm so excited. So when the book does publish in April of 2021, I will be one of the first people to read it. And Riya, you mentioned earlier you would call yourself an intersectional feminist. And I know you and I have spoken about this on different discussions on your Happy Hour series as well as on the Fembolden podcast. But could you just tell us a little bit more about what intersectionality means to you and what it means to be an intersectional feminist?
Yeah, intersectionality is an intersectional word, but it's really broad in the sense that you can take it almost anywhere. But what I like to think of, how I like to explain intersectionality is almost like an umbrella, and it's kind of, no, actually, that's a bad way of thinking about it. Okay, so if you're looking at an issue, there's like, let's just take the umbrella issue of like, racism or, gender equality, let's go with that. There's so many different intersections in that one broad issue of gender inequality. Being a woman of color or being, someone who doesn't live in the United States, for example, or like any sort of intersection of you, yourself, and your identity with that broad umbrella issue of feminism or, gender inequality. That's what intersectionality means, being able to explore those like finer nuances of a specific issue because you're able to narrow it down to a specific intersection of a particular issue and the broad issue. So that's kind of how I like to think about it and explain it. And the way that I like to think about it is that it really broadens your perspective because you're able to step out of your shoes and into the shoes of other people. And that's something that I really love doing, kind of talking to people, hearing about where they're coming from and their stories because they're so valuable in terms of not only expanding my perspective, but having the world listen to theirs perspective and then being able to learn from that. And what's so great about intersectionality is that it's really tied hand in hand to equity. The more intersectional we are, the more all of our problem solving in the future is going to be more equitable for kind of everyone. And so that's why, to me, intersectionality is so important. And it's kind of a hard, concept to grasp, but at the same time, it's super easy when you think about it because it's just so inherent in our everyday lives. And we just have to kind of think about it and like take that, extra step to think about it. But yeah, that's kind of how I explain it.
Maya, we can hear you.
Oh, that's because I was gonna say wow, but I was like, maybe that's not the word that I should use. Okay, because I've never heard about this, and it's crazy. But how you just explained it makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a new and incoming word, and it's
Okay.
funny because I actually I wrote a college essay about intersectionality and how much it matters to me. And I actually researched, the origin of the word, and so it came from this African American lawyer, woman lawyer actually, and she's absolutely amazing. She's an activist as well. Her name is Kimberly Crenshaw, and so she wrote this like thesis on this paper, about how intersectionality is so important, in us moving forward and kind of anything in the law and really just any field, which is so applicable today. And so she's, I think, the first person who kind of coined the term. And then from there, it's grown into kind of this movement in a way of like
Right.
thinking and like thought thinking and just thinking about how to be better and how
Yeah.
to be more equitable. I think equity and intersectionality really go hand in hand because you can't have one without the other.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
really,
awesome.
to examine one thing in one perspective only and not consider the way it interacts and connects to everything else is just such an empty way of understanding the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at everything through your own lens, you're only seeing it through the way that you're thinking about it. But the reality is, whatever you're working on, so many other people are going to be impacted with it,
Right.
or so many people are going to interact with whatever you're working on. So it's not only the way that you're thinking about and using whatever you're doing. It's how everyone else is going to take it, and I think that's why intersectionality is important in any space. You can take a startup, for example, without consulting other people on how they're going to take some sort of, novel idea that you have, you're not going to be successful because you won't have that perspective without the people in your team. That's the
Right.
kind of like narrow perspective that you have. So perspective, equity, intersectionality, and really success in a way all tie back into intersectionality because you have to kind of go out of your own shoes, like I said earlier, and into those of others in order to explore the interconnectedness of everything, really.
Right.
I agree.
And that's like a big part of our history that a lot of us have missed, especially us, us big kids, because I'm still considered a kid, y'all. I am, okay,
Of
but like
course,
big kids
of course.
myself, like you know taking yourself out of, what's that saying, Justin? You know what I'm saying.
Is it walk a mile in someone else's shoes?
It's yeah, it sounds yeah, yeah,
I'm
it
sorry, I'm
sounds.
blanking here.
Oh,
Yeah,
Are
what I'm
you? You're
thinking is
right.
what I'm
It's
thinking
on those
is
terms.
not what you mean. So I got nothing.
Okay, it's on those terms. Like you really have to take yourself out of an equation and really look at it with non-biased eyes.
Oh, to look at it
It
objectively.
right. And we tend to not do that. We talked about this on the TSO Live talk show multiple times, along with Hajir talked about it on the Hajir talk show. About dang, oh my word, there's a word for it. Oh my word. Oh my gosh. It is when people oh my gosh, it just flew out of my brain. It'll come back, but I totally understand what you're saying 100%, Ria, and that's awesome that at 16 years old that you can do that, because it's harder as you get older. You get set in your ways, you get set into this whole motion of what you call life, and you only see through these rose colored glasses, and you can't take yourself out of the equation. It's much harder, I would say, to take yourself out of the equation when you're older. It's a lot harder.
And
Well,
it's not the same. Oh, go ahead.
what I will say is if you set, I'm not saying have or do it perfectly, but if you set yourself in the mindset to always be try to be looking at it in that way at a young age and like try to persist, like it does. I think it's just a tendency to become like you get into a groove and you like your thought pattern and way of thinking of everything. But I think if you cultivate, and I think you have to do that. You got to practice. You got to cultivate that objectivity, that
Right.
I don't know, the adopting of other people's perspectives. I
Right.
guess.
And you have to educate yourself too.
Yeah.
If you don't educate yourself, then listen, Hajir is the queen of education, and I follow right back behind her. You really have to make sure that you are feeding yourself the materials that you need so you can do that. Because without education, you're nothing. And I'm not just talking about, like, math, science. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking like really knowing your history, knowing who you are, knowing how other people in third world countries are living. Like, those types of things you should know. And those are the things that is going to help you grow and be able to let you step back and to see and dissect things the proper way.
Yeah, and it's not to say that your perspective doesn't matter because everyone's does, and everyone's has value, but it's about self-investing really
Right.
and self-educating and then knowing when it's right to speak out and when your voice should be amplified and just understanding when and where is the time and place. I think that's kind
Right.
of that whole like self-education, that's kind of what it teaches you out of all things. And like when should I use my voice versus when should I be an ally. I think that's kind of what we need to start thinking about because I feel like sometimes people take the use your voice thing too seriously and kind of use their voices in everything, and that's I feel like what Gen Zers call Karens. But yeah, so I'd say don't always speak up because it's not always your place, but
Right.
learn when you have to and do it when you should. I think that's kind of what it is. And if it's not your place, be an ally for whoever, is in need. I feel like that's always a great stand to take in any, shape, way, or form. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Right. So when you started this journey, now you're here, you're 16 years old. What has it been? How has it been with your peers? Like, I know there's not going to be a lot of people who support what you're doing, and there's going to be people who are. So how have you been able to handle that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's been 50-50. I'd say. A lot of people are like, yeah, this is really cool, but in some ways it can be read as jealousy. So like some people kind of, prey on your downfall, and that's a little disheartening because it's like
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes when people are jealous per se, they don't always see the work behind it, and they always
Right.
see like the actual effect. And it's all not. In my case, I don't think it's always for the final whatever. For me, it was more for the work and like the journey, and that's what
Right.
I admire. About myself and the way that I've come up. So yeah, I feel like sometimes that's kind of been the driving force behind people's kind of reaction. But beyond that, there's been support. I feel like in communities that I've been able to form. How did I find Arya? Through a great, social media network that, she was on my For You page because I look at, things that relate to feminism and intersectionality. And so, like, being able to find people that are part of a community that I've kind of self curated in a way, that those people have always like rallied behind me.
Right.
Like I can say I have like a couple really great friends that are always going to show up for me no matter what. And, like Ari is one of them, right? And so those are kind of the ways that you're able to find support in whatever endeavors you do take on. And when I told Ari about my book, she like was nonstop texting me. She was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Can I read it? Like, this is great. And so that's the kind of support that matters and makes you feel empowered. And
Right.
so, yeah, I love peers like Ari, and I love peers, that really support me. And I've been able to have that, through social media, through, people that I found. But I wouldn't necessarily say I had a lot, like in my hometown. Yeah, like people, I think when they're really close to you, don't always see the real
Right.
picture and
Yep.
just kind of see the outcome, and will be really, really quick to judge on the outcome.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So I feel like that in a way is a little bit toxic. So I think honestly, just knowing that you're in a good place and you're going to be doing great things and just having that self-confidence is what's driven me. Sometimes I didn't have people around me, but my,
Right.
self, I guess, driving, just like motivation, I guess that would be the thing that was, taking me forward. So yeah.
I definitely agree. And I think that that's such an interesting discussion to have, especially because there are so many points that you made that I agree with wholeheartedly. Especially one of the last points that you made about like the people who are kind of in immediate contact with you don't understand the magnitude of what you're doing. And like I've spoken about this with my peers, and it's not you to be boastful. And again, I've spoken about this with Tamara about like, as we are celebrating ourselves and our accomplishments and kind of looking back on all the things that we've been able to do, it's also really important to recognize our privileges. Like to be able to say that you wrote a book is an amazing accomplishment, but it also comes with immense privileges. To be able to say that every week I have a talk show and I write for a podcast and record a podcast, to be able to say that is a privilege, because there are people who if in better circumstances could be able to do that, but they don't have the time, the energy, and all of that to be able to do that. But I think I've spoken about this with my peers, like, when you're going to bed at night on a Sunday or when you're chilling, like, I can't do that. And it's not, that can come off very, rude and very boastful, like, well, I'm doing other things. And that's
Right.
my intentions, is just to be able to say, like, this, like, I put a lot of work into what I do. And Riya, I know
Right.
it's the same thing.
I'm just like wholeheartedly 100% like agreeing with you, because yeah, like when people are like, yeah, like why don't you just like have time to like just stream the next like episode of the show or like whatever. I'm like, no, I wish I could. Like I have 20,000 things on my Google Calendar. I was so annoying to Ari about sending me stuff on Google Calendar because I have so many things on it, and it's like one thing after another. And like as soon as school ends, I have like 20,000 meetings, and so like I just need to make sure that that's all happening. And people are like, why are you on the phone for so long? They're like, oh, I'm not on the computer for that long. I'm only on the computer for school. And I'm like, no, on calls all day. So it's like I feel like that behind the scenes isn't always evident, and a lot of people that are very close to you, like even family, don't always understand like what the calls are doing or like what a talk show is doing or like any kind of thing. So sometimes that's disheartening, because it's like
is.
And like Ari was saying, sometimes when you tell people, it comes off as boastful, and they're like, stop bragging, like this isn't humble at all, this is like quite the opposite of what you're trying to do. And so it's like, no, I'm like really just trying to tell you like what's going on in life, and this is genuinely it. Like if you're not here for it, sorry, like unfollow or whatever, right? Like that's kind of what it's come to, because there's just so much authenticity on the internet, and at this point I want to keep it really real and straight, and like this is what it is. There's bad days, there's good days, there might be more bad days than good days, but the good days make the bad days worth it. So yeah, I mean that's quite a tangent there, but that's kind of what I think the process is like. It's definitely not an easy kind of path.
Right. Just hearing you guys talk, it just, it brings back to remembrance a lot of things. And if there was any advice I can give you, like, it is okay to not be like everybody else. Okay. And as everybody else gets older, they're going to want to start to do things that you've already started. They're going to start to take journeys that you've already taken. And you just got to hold on to those things. Okay. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's never easy. And there was a lot of nights when T.S.O first started that I remember crying. There was a lot of doors that were slammed in my face. There were, there was a lot of journeys and different things like that really, weighed me down. And even when it came to some family, some people weren't in support of what we were doing or what we were trying to do, but sticking to it, paving that ground, because you're already on the right track. Just don't give up.
Yeah, and I think imposter syndrome is kind of the word for everything that we've been saying and talking about, and it's really evident on social media. I know it's really easy to fall into imposter syndrome because of social media. Everyone's supposed lives are on social media, but of course the behind the scenes aren't always projected, right? And so I mean, personally, that's what I've been trying to do more of, post more of like the bad days, and more of what it takes to be Riya, right? And not saying that in a boastful way, it's just it comes with a lot of things, right? But yeah, I think imposter syndrome is really hard to come out of because everything is so unrealistic on social media. It's like this is a perfect depiction of who I am, but like it doesn't show anything
Right.
else. And so I feel like, you know, what you were saying before is so evident and, you know, so important. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because
Yeah.
you could be doing something that's even more impactful with the skills that you have, and no two people are the same. There's this one quote by Dr. Seuss I always quote in like every kind of talk show or anything that I do. It's, "You are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you." And I feel like that it's just the best quote I've ever heard, because no one is more youer than you. You are you.
Right.
And like, why take away the value from that? That's so important. That's so valuable. And, you know, use you to be the best version of you.
Right.
That's what I'd say. So, yeah.
I definitely
You-
agree, and I think it's interesting because I've had conversations, and we've spoken about this on Penn Bolden countless times about, you know, the image that we project on social media. Exactly like you said, Rhea, is always this perfect image, and everything that I show is the best version of me, and that's what you would expect. You show your best version of yourself on the internet, especially because the internet is forever. But
Right.
I've spoken with friends who, a really close friend of mine, for the longest time, our relationship was kind of ruined because there was just this tension between us. And, you know, after reflecting and speaking more personally about it, she said like she felt like everything I did was to get back at her, in the sense of like, you're trying to one up me. Like, you started a podcast, you did this, you're the president of this, you did this. Like, everything was this grand comparison about who's better. And, you know, I,
Right.
to be completely transparent, like, there are times I'm like, oh, Tamara wrote a book, Rhea wrote a book, should I write a book? But I'm like, you can't, that's not the driving force for what you want to do. You're
Right.
constantly in this constant pursuit of comparison, and I'm gonna one up you and do. That's not how things go. And I think that, Rhea, it's you put it beautifully. Like, you have to understand that you are you. Like, you cannot
Right.
allow other people's successes or perils be the things that bring you down or bring you up, because that's just
Facts.
toxic and it's not gonna get you anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. You've both been making, and Maya as well, on imposter syndrome. It's very real, and I hate it, and I've mostly gotten over it. And heck, I'm 40, so how much longer to go, right? No, a little bit. But no, I was just especially to say that I think it's possible to see what your friends and your colleagues are doing and say, wow, that's pretty cool, and allow it to
Right.
inspire you, and to say,
Right.
wow, that's a good thing. Like, maybe I'd like to do that at some point. But to necessarily take like the one-upmanship or the competitive nature out of it, saying, like, I feel like I could do that as well, and it doesn't have to be better. Maybe it
Right.
won't be. Like, who's
Right.
judging against who? It's going to be a different thing regardless.
And
But
you're
no,
always
I
gonna
think
have
it.
people who feel that way though.
Yeah, no, just especially in that circumstance when you're with all these bright, like-minded people, I think it's almost impossible not to be inspired by each other.
Right. I tell you, these girls, I'm telling you, the people that we've had on the T.S.O. Live Talk Show, they inspire me so much. And it warms my heart. It makes me so happy to see that we have another Aria. I know
Yeah.
y'all are like multiplying every time I turn around. There's like a new one, and Aria is our favorite. We love her. Okay,
Thank you.
and Rhea, for to hear you talk and your demeanor, just who you are, like this is what we got looking forward. This is what we have to look forward to, y'all. Like this. These past years, like there's gonna be no more. We have young women like Aria and Tamara and Rhea who are red tea, sweetie. Okay, they are coming for you. Get ready, okay? Get ready, and that makes me happy. And I just hope that you continue on your path, and people are always gonna talk. There's always gonna be somebody who is jealous, somebody who's gonna talk smack, somebody who's gonna tell you that you're not good enough, or you shouldn't be doing this. You should be a normal kid, or you should be at the move. There's always gonna be that one person, but you stay focused and stay true to your path, and eventually they're gonna come and say, "Hey, Rhea, remember when you started this? I would like to be involved." It's
No, and I've had moments like that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate to say it, but it's almost gratifying sometimes, because it's like, Yeah, you were hating on me like less than 6 months ago. All right. You're in my DMs now. So it's funny to kind of see that evolution, but in a way it's almost like, invest in yourself because no one else will,
Yes.
right? And like why take out from that? I mean, there's so much privilege in where I come from saying this, but if you do have some extra time in the quarantine and if you don't have to, go work or, do anything else, take some time to, create a new habit that's really great for yourself. I know,
Yes.
even for the seniors that are going off to college or really just anyone really, take this year or take this like extra couple months that we have to, take some 30 minutes out, meditate, I don't know, do your thing, like work out. I mean, it could be anything. And I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm definitely like trying to implement these things myself. But I mean, self-investing, reading more books, like trying to do whatever you need to do to be more successful is what's going to help you. I mean, if there's a passion that you have, I don't know, doodling, writing, painting, like go for it. Like right now
Yeah.
is the time to do it. Because when else are you going to do it, right? And then
Right.
maybe you might discover something that you would have never thought you would do. And then there you go. There's your passion. There's like what you're going to go to school for or whatever it might be. So I think
Right.
really just like going and embarking on your own self journey is again just like so important and should be prioritized in parallel with your, I guess, success necessarily or like your career success, but it should be in parallel to a self journey that's going to be there for your whole life and like something you look forward to beyond your 9 to 5. So yeah.
Right.
And I think this goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome a little bit. But as you try new things, don't be scared to not be any good at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, over time, you'll probably get better, but you might not. But that's okay. You don't have to be you don't have to be a professional level musician or an artist or a singer just to enjoy doing those things. And it's okay. And it's a great experience. And you should just enjoy it.
Right. Enjoy the fruits of your labors. Well, that's like the hardest thing that any entrepreneur or any small business owner, that's like the hardest thing to do. Okay, is to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. But girl, let me tell you, on the right track, and I'm here for it. I'm here
Thank you.
for it all the way. So for people who would like for you to be on their talk show or their magazine or anything like that, how do they get in contact with you? And also throw out there that link for in April when the book is released.
Yeah, sure. So my campaign for my book is ending in like less than 30-ish hours, 36 hours. So if you want to make a last minute contribution, you can go to the link on my Instagram, which is at my first name, RIYA Riya .GOEL_. And my last name is pronounced Goel. And so, yeah, that's my Instagram. Pretty much everything is on my Instagram. There's a link with a bunch of, links to, stuff I've done. I post a lot about, things that I do as well. My email is on there. My phone number should be on there. So, there's really just any way to contact me. And you can always, just DM me if there's anything. And yeah, my all the stuff is really just linked on my Instagram. And my LinkedIn is also a pretty good place to contact me too. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it right now
No
so I
problem.
can show everybody.
Yeah.
You said at Rhea.
.Goel_. Yeah.
All right, y'all. This is it right here. I'm about to show y'all. Y'all don't judge my phone, okay? Don't do it, people. Don't do it. All right. So this is what it looks
Yeah,
like on
the
Instagram.
iPhone 12 Pro XL. Yeah, don't judge your phone.
It's not XL, it's Max, but I'll
What?
let you make it.
Whatever.
I'll let you make it. So this is what the Instagram page looks like. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not because of the way my phone's set up, but go on there, follow, and I will make sure that I post it on the T.S.O Live Talk Show page today and also on my personal page. Let's support our youth 100%. Let's do those contributions to help her out. And also, don't forget the Gen Z book. Okay, you can also follow that straight from her page too. She has a link on there, so you can go on there and support that as well.
Yeah.
You're awesome. I'm super
Thank
proud of
you.
you. And I know that we just met, but now you are a part of the family. And Aria, you are the best. Thank you so much for bringing her in. Because you know what? Pause. Us big kids, sometimes we need that positivity, and we need that burst of just fire to get that light lit up under our tails, so we can be on the same level. And I thank Aria from the bottom of my heart for bringing you. Like, I can't wait to see who else you got, Aria. Like, you.
Wow, no pressure though.
No pressure
No.
whatsoever. But
No,
Rhea
I do.
Rhea's great. And if we could just have like an all week TV show where we could just have different people on every day and just talk about it, you know how impactful that would be. Like, y'all look like the Dr. Phils of I was about to say our generation, but I'm a millennial. I'm not a Gen
And
Z.
you don't even need to be a doctor. You can just call yourself one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know. I mean, you're right to a point. You're right to a point. But Rhea, this was awesome, and you're amazing. Please go out there, follow her Instagram page. Make sure you follow the Gen Z book on Instagram as well. Let's get some contributions going to her so that she can get this book published. And yeah, awesome. Dopeness. I need a shirt that says dopeness so that I can wear it whenever we have greatness on the show, because it's like, y'all, I hope y'all are watching this right now and being like, yo, T.S.O, like, what are y'all doing? Like, I guarantee you, I'm just speaking into existence right now. We gonna see Aria and Rhea. They gonna be like the next vice president or president. Y'all, can you imagine?
I mean, Ari and I should run for office, I'd say, together.
Absolutely.
Just like a power duo. I mean, just imagine me and her on a ticket. I'd vote for us.
I would cry. I love both of y'all so much. And once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. And Justin and I, Hajir and Azalea and Aria, we will try our best, 100%, the whole T.S.O family, to help you any way that we can. And I'll make sure I get my copy of the book. I've brought in everybody's books, and I'm like, I love supporting our youth. So
yeah, and I mean, it'll be on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and kind of every major bookstore in April. So if you can't get your copy now on the pre-sale, there's definitely the kind of time then, and so then it'll be on the market, hopefully for a while. So yeah.
Awesome. So Barnes and Noble, Amazon. I'm sure you will be able to get it on the website as well. T.S.O family, please look for it on the T.S.O Live Talk Show and the T.S.O Live Talk Show webpage as well, and our Instagram. We're working on our Instagram, y'all. I know y'all like, Maya, where to post that, y'all? Where are you at? We working on it. We're gonna work on our social media team, make sure that we get it up and popping so we can be,
Absolutely.
lit,
It's taken me 57 minutes for him to even wander over here, and then he just wanders his butt right in front of the camera. Good job, buddy. Thank you. I've been doing other things. I've been into the show, but gosh. Anyway, my bad.
All right. So once again, thank you for coming on the show. Aria, thank you so much for being a part of our show again. Justin, I love you. I can't wait to see you in person so I can hug you. If you would like to be a part of the T.S.O Live Talk Show page, please send us an email at tsolivetalkshow@gmail.com. If you would like to support Fem Bolden or Rhea and her with her campaign and her book, please send us an email as well, or you can message us on Facebook or Instagram, okay? Or you can message Aria, Justin, Hajir, Azalea, or myself, and we'll make sure we get you to the right person where you can, give your donation or do all that good stuff that you want to do, okay? So we love you guys. Thank you so much, Rhea, for coming on the show. We appreciate it. We can't wait to have you back in April, because that just sounds like the best thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm open to it. Yeah, I'll talk about.
Slide that in there.
Yeah. I will take you up on that. Yeah, for sure.
And we love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Bye.
Bye.
See you.